Welcome once more time to your channel that gives you the power of knowledge in the form of ADP for learning. I am Ashish. Today we will look forward one last time to the other health conditions that involve our microbiome. As in the last two videos, we have learned about 10 health conditions such as acne, antibiotic-associated diarrhea, asthma or allergies, autism, autoimmune diseases, cancer, dental cavities, depression and anxiety, diabetes, and eczema, also known as psoriasis or dermatitis, that involve the role of our microbiomes. Today in this third video on this topic, we will see the remaining popular health conditions or diseases that occur due to an imbalance of microbes. The 11th popular example is of gastric ulcers. You have already familiarized with this most common health condition, as these gastric ulcers are painful sores inside the stomach, or the first part of the small intestine. A healthy digestive tract has a protective layer of mucus, but ulcers are open to attack from the stomach acids that help digest our food. In the early 1980s, doctors discovered that the vast majority of gastric ulcers, around 80%, are associated with Helicobacter pylori bacteria. To treat severe ulcers, patients are often given mixtures of 2 to 3 different types of antibiotics. This Helicobacter pylori bacteria live in about half of all healthy people as well, and most of these people don't develop ulcers. We don't understand why some people are more susceptible, but it looks like diet plays a role. Eating different types of food changes the abiotic factors of the stomach, making conditions more or less hospitable to different types of bacteria. Interestingly, Helicobacter pylori bacteria may also be important for developing a healthy immune system. People who have antibodies against Helicobacter pylori bacteria, showing that they have been exposed to this bug at some point in their lives, are less likely than others to develop asthma, as we have discussed this health condition in our first video of this series. And those that do develop asthma tend to do so at a later age. The 12th example is hardening of the arteries. Hardening of the arteries, also called atherosclerosis, happens when a layer of sticky plaque builds up on the inside walls of blood vessels. A thick layer of plaque leaves less room for blood to flow, and tissue can become starved for oxygen. When pieces of plaque break off, they can become stuck in smaller blood vessels, completely blocking blood flow. People with hardening of the arteries often have no symptoms until something serious happens, like a heart attack or stroke. Decades ago, doctors noticed that many of their heart attack patients also had red, irritated gums. Later, researchers found that plaque in blood vessels contains types of bacteria that normally live in the mouth. The best guess is that bacteria are entering the bloodstream through blood vessels and unhealthy gums near infected teeth. The connection between plaque on teeth and plaque in blood vessels raises some interesting questions, such as, does good dental care prevent hardening of the arteries? Could scanning dental plaque for certain types of microbes diagnose disease before patients are struck down by heart attack or stroke? Could treating dental plaque also clear away blood vessel plaque? So, there are many areas to explore. The 13th example is inflammatory bowel diseases. Inflammatory bowel diseases, including Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, and others, are a group of disorders that affect the intestines. These often painful conditions leave sufferers with vomiting, diarrhea, and anemia that cause due by low iron. In the worst cases, surgeons must remove damaged sections of the intestine. Interactions between microbes and the cells that line the intestine appear to be important in inflammatory bowel disease. Some types of bacteria release molecules that irritate the intestine, loosen the connections between cells, and allow large molecules to leak through the intestinal wall into the bloodstream. Some people with Crohn's disease also have a genetic variation that changes how their cells interact with microbes. The variation is in the NOD2 gene, which codes for a protein that recognizes and helps to kill certain types of bacteria when they get uncomfortably close to the cells that line the intestine. A defect in this mechanism allows bacteria to invade the intestinal wall, where they can cause inflammation and infection. Future treatments may focus on discouraging the growth of bacteria that cause inflammation and encouraging the growth of ones that suppress it. The 14th example is malnutrition. Yes, you will be surprised to know that the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations estimates that nearly 1 billion people around the world either don't have enough to eat or are missing important vitamins and minerals. In children, malnutrition can lead to lifelong health problems. Malnutrition isn't simply a matter of lacking calories and nutrients. Some people eat enough nutrients but can't absorb them. One clue about the role of microbes came from looking at identical twins, one twin undernourished and the other one not. The twins had the same genes, and they ate the same food, but they had different gut microbiota. Our microbial communities are established during our first few years, and they influence our health for life. If we learn more about the relationship between microbes and nutrition, we may be able to help babies grow healthy microbes right from the start. By manipulating the microbiome, doctors may be able to help patients take in more nutrients from essentially the same food. The last but not least example is of literally the fatty disease known as obesity. Thin people and obese people tend to have different types of microbes living in their guts. And when obese people lose weight, their microbiota change accordingly. With rates of obesity and related health problems increasing at an alarming rate, it has become an area of intense research. Obesity is highly heritable, and it probably involves genes that pass from parent to child. And body weight is clearly influenced by diet, so the environment and personal habits also play a role. However, several studies have also turned up evidence linking obesity to the microbiome. A diet high in fat, sugar, and simple carbs is bad for the healthy gut microbes that keep us thin, while it encourages the growth of unhealthy microbes that make us obese. Obese individuals harbor microbes that are better at extracting energy from food, as well as microbes that signal the body to store energy as fat. Bacteria transplanted from overweight mice to thin mice make the thin mice gain weight. The relationship among genetics, the environment, and the microbiome as it relates to obesity is certainly complex. But while the genome is fixed and habits are hard to change, the microbiome is changeable. So the question can come into mind that in the reverse of the mouse study described above, could microbes from thin people help obese people become healthier? Or could a nutritional supplement help healthy microbes grow? Thank you so much for coming to the amazing journey of learning. Today we covered 15 most popular examples of diseases or health conditions that are caused due to microbiome. Meanwhile, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. In the future, we will come up with more topics.